Okay, hello everyone. So I'm super excited today because I have the amazing Jon Guerra with us. Woohoo! He's here and I'm super pumped. He is just an amazing artist and musician and great guy all around. But he has played with some amazing people, does a lot of stuff in songwriting and playing for a church band. Meredith Andrews has played with Amy Grant, Vince Gill. I'm sure zillions of other people that I haven't even thought of, but he's super awesome at what he does. And I was really excited because I reached out to him and said, hey, will you share some of us your insights, some of your tips with us, what you do that has helped if you're on the road a ton and you make amazing albums? He obviously knows how to do some things that we might not know how to do. So I asked him to give us some of his fabulous wisdom and words of advice, and he has so kindly agreed to do that. So give it up. This is Jon Guerra. Jon, how you doing?
Hello, doing well. How are you?
I'm doing so good. I'm so excited to get to hang out with you and just hear all your fabulousness. Because yeah, you do a great job of singing, and it never sounds forced. It always sounds like so genuine and just raw and real. And I love that about your voice. And so I would just love for these guys to get to hear. What are some things you've done singing wise that you're like, oh man, this made a difference for me, or something that helped you out?
Yeah, totally. So I think first thing that kind of comes to mind is I kind of do it a lot. So I've been singing like for as long as I can remember, and I'm just always kind of humming something or always kind of singing something. And when I first started thinking about, I guess intentionally, like how to shape my voice or how to take care of my voice, I was mainly interested in, like, I guess maybe sort of what you just said, and how can I express emotion through my voice, and always drawn to singers who it felt like were almost being like embarrassingly raw, like with their voice.
Yeah.
So a lot of old singers. I'm actually going to look this up right now. There's a lot of old singers like Nina Simone, Ella Fitzgerald. Kind of like some of those old, just classic jazz singers that I feel like when you listen to them sing, they're doing things that are like, wait, that's not right, but it sounds really good, and it sounds emotional, and it sounds like, yeah, it just sounds. There's this guy named Jacques Ellul. I'm trying to find. I think it's Jacques Ellul, but he's an old. Oh wait, no, that's the philosopher Jacques Ellul.
Equally great, though, I'm sure.
Equally great. Anyway, or guys like Jeff Buckley in like the early, late '90s or whatever. They're singers who they don't sound like they have proper singing voices necessarily, and that always felt encouraging to me because it felt like, well, I never really had training. I was in choir, and I kind of tried to blend in as well as I could, but just singers who kind of were able to express what was in their heart and felt like. And then I finally came into Bob Dylan when I was in kind of early college.
I was going to say, he's definitely, I could see that influence would be huge.
Yeah. And he doesn't have like a traditionally beautiful singing voice, but when I listen to him, it's like, this is so emotive. This is so raw. This is so, it's almost embarrassing. It's almost like, put it away, man. Like, but I've always felt like music, if we're not making people, I guess, feel like they're not alone through our own vulnerability, then kind of what's the point? Like with my music, I mean, like there's a lot of people who sound really pretty, that kind of really classical, or like the Michael Bublé. It's just like, oh, that's such a pretty voice, or like Adele, which they're both emotive too.
Yeah.
But when I think of people that really like, okay, model what I want to be about is that kind of like authenticity. And so anyway,
I think that's huge. It's connecting.
Yeah.
You're connecting what you're singing about with people, and like your message, it's a story you're actually telling that you actually believe in. It's not necessarily just like, sometimes I agree with you. Sometimes Michael Bublé, he's singing, but you're not necessarily convinced that he's believing.
Yeah.
His story he's sharing. It's not like coming from a deep spot. It's like,
yeah,
there's an old time song that Frank Sinatra sang that now I also happen to like. As opposed to, you do that really well. You like share your story from a spot that you can tell that it's something you deeply believe in and are authentic about. And I think that's super important to sing, because you could have the most beautiful voice in the world, but if you're not actually believing in what you're saying and having that like that deep connection. The audience doesn't have a deep connection, and it is such an added piece that's so important. And I think it does make a difference. You can tell.
Yeah, totally. And I think, you know, people who don't do it professionally almost have like they have more access, I think, to that honesty because they haven't really learned all the tools of the trade to be able to hide behind good technique or hide behind, you know, a perfect performance. They can kind of just, you know, when you hear kids sing, it's like the most beautiful thing in the world because they're just singing from their hearts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're singing because they want to. They're singing because, you know, they like the tune or, and yeah, I guess in my mind, if ever I do practice, which we can talk about the actual mechanics of it, but if I do practice singing or if I do exercises or try to stretch my voice in a way, then it's only ever to have like another tool in the tool belt to try to be able to like, maybe if I'm feeling like I want to do a high note or do this note in my chest voice because I'm really feeling passionate in the moment, then I'll go for it and I can do it because I've, you know, practiced, you know, combining the head voice and the chest voice. And it's like I've got some hours under my belt to be able to kind of just pull that out when whatever. So
It's true. So I think I like what you're sharing because I think that's something you do well is that your storytelling is something that stands out. Like your genuine connection to your songs and your words is just different. When we see you perform, it is a different thing where you're like, oh wow, yeah, that's really awesome. And I think the technique is all important, obviously, because it makes it later on. If you have that stuff down, it's in your belt, you already know how to do it. Then you can it's just another way you can tell the story. Because when you hit it high beautifully in a super important part of the song, it obviously conveys your message. It obviously conveys like, oh, man, like the feeling in your Christmas song. Super awesome. I remember thinking when you hit the high note in, I'm drawing a blank for the name of it. You know what I'm talking about? There's one Christmas song that it's
Lord Remind Me?
Which one?
Lord Remind Me?
Yes, Lord Remind Me. It's like, oh man, so powerful. We listen to this like times at Christmas time. But that Lord Remind Me, like when you go up, man, it just is so beautiful, and it makes such a difference because it's just adding to your story more and more. Because that's what it all comes down to. It's not like you're singing so you can just hit high notes. You're singing to share your story. You're singing to get your message across.
Yeah.
The more authentic you can get and genuine, better. Super awesome.
100%.
I love it. One last question for you. Do you have anything that you feel like has helped you when you've been on the road when you're singing, or anything that you've been like, oh man, this is something that has made a difference vocally if you are performing all the time? Is there anything that you can give?
Well, I guess I've been on tour. I realized more than ever how much of a muscle your voice actually is, and muscles get fatigued, and muscles need sleep. Muscles need rest. Yeah, and I think that we use our voices so much to talk and to just kind of get through life that we forget that it really is like something that can be stretched and worked out and grown, and it kind of loses things if you don't use it as much. And I guess just treating it that way, like, you know, if I can't expect, let's say I'm singing at church on Sunday morning. When I was younger, I used to be able to like stay out super late on Saturday and do whatever, and then wake up on Sunday and do it and be okay. But now I feel a little bit more like, I don't know, maybe it's my age or something, but I'm like, I really need a good night's sleep. And I feel like such a, I don't know, like such a dweeb, like having to be like, man, I got church, like, see you guys.
True, it's hard to get old. I'm with you.
Yeah, totally. But that's, I mean, it's just kind of like, it's a way to kind of take care of your voice and give yourself like a fighting chance to kind of, to be your best. And also to not really hurt yourself. Because when I'm tired, I tend to, you know, be a little bit more like, would like compress my voice more. And I don't like, it's harder for me to get oxygen so that my tone is just like a lot more limited.
Sure.
When I'm doing it a lot, I don't have very many like exercises or warm-ups that I do, but I do have a couple, like doing a scale on like a goo and like a nya 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 or whatever, to try to just separate those two like tones. And it's a lot more important for me to do those, I think, when I'm on the road, just to kind of, even it's just like a thing that's like telling my voice, hey, we're about to go do something now. You know that when you start to do this, you know you're about to sing for an hour or something. So that's been really helpful. I mean, I don't know if tea helps, but it makes me feel like it helps. Like yeah, in my mind, I'm like, oh, there's something warm in my, I mean, I don't know if it actually does. I hear it does, but,
yeah.
But for me, when I have like a warm drink that isn't caffeinated or that isn't, just something hot, and it makes me feel like a little better.
It relaxes you in a great way. Cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. I think that's all super, it's great. It's all going with what I've been saying. Like, warm-ups before you're singing, no matter what, especially a bunch of stuff is super important. Everyone does it. It's one of those things that if people haven't sung a ton, they don't even know that's the thing. Like, no, this is a legit situation that people do. It's not like just saying, you should try these warm-ups. It's like, no, legit, like, it helps. And
totally.
And all that helps. And it's, I think when I was younger, I just thought, it doesn't really matter. And now I'm like, all right, dang it does.
Yeah, no, totally. And another thing I'll say was, I don't know how many people sing like on stage or like with a microphone, but I think there's also sometimes what I've found is whenever, I'm singing at church and we've got other singers singing with us, they kind of feel embarrassed to take a second and make sure that like they can hear themselves well, whether it's like a wedge monitor or like an in-ear monitor. And I guess I just want to encourage people to take as much time as you need to hear yourself, so that you don't singing is so much about creating the conditions for making something beautiful. And, rest is that for me, it's like it's a warm up. It's maybe a warm drink. And then also making sure I'm comfortable, like both in my ears, like the in-ears or on the wedges, making sure that like, no, I can hear myself well. It's not blasting me. It's not too quiet. And I think sometimes people just feel embarrassed to like, they don't want to be a diva. They don't want to be like whatever. So they kind of rush past that process of creating the condition on stage to be able to deliver something well. And I think it's okay. People will be pumped that you took a second to make sure your voice sounds good when the performance is there, because it's, that's all part of it too.
I like how you said that. It's the taking the time to create it, the conditions to make something beautiful. That's exactly it. That, like, right up, nail on the head. Yeah.
Yeah.
True. I think that is true. When you haven't done it as much, you're like, you don't even realize that that's okay to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
So you sound good in the end. Like, that's true. That's really good. Golden nuggets.
Yeah. What do you do? Just out of curiosity, do you have any kind of
like to prep if I'm going out and doing stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. So I do have warm-ups that I do. I have like a set of 3 that I love. You said Goog. I have like a really sweet Goog one that like keeps my lyrics down. And I have a few that are just like relaxing, like choo. Everybody in the singing that they have all these already. So this is like old news. They're hearing me say this.
Yeah.
But that one, especially for me, like just choo, like going like that. So you just get everything relaxed. Cause for me, I have a tendency as things happening, like getting really pumped up and I get tense is my thing. So I like to just relax all these muscles and do like, those shoulder things and all those random, the neck rolls. And as cheesy as it is, like it gets your brain relaxed, it gets my body relaxed. And then you have the space to create.
Totally.
So
nice.
Yeah, that's super awesome. Guys, I want to thank Jon so much for coming. If you guys haven't already looked him up, you should find him on iTunes, on Spotify. I'm pulling a Jimmy Fallon. I actually have the album cover with me, oddly enough. We listened to it in our car and we love it. It's Pray Tell is his, him and his wife, the duo, and they're amazing, so good. Totally check them out if you haven't already. They're on Facebook. What's your website, Jon?
So it's jonguerramusic.com, and then it's also praytellmusic.com. So either of those. And then Instagram as well, at Jon Guerra and at Pray Tell Music.
Yeah.
Or at Pray Tell Music, it's kind of where we post a lot of our songs and clips of songs. And then at I'm Jon Guerra, it's just sort of like a personal, it's mainly just Chicago and travel and Valerie reluctantly posing for me. So.
It's great. I really like it. You guys should check them out. Look up the song Better Together. It's one of my favorites. I really like that a bunch. Thank you, Jon, so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
And just your heart in it is so good. And there's like no question when you're hearing your songs, like just, your heart to create something beautiful and to put your song and your story out there to encourage people. And I just love it a ton. So thank you so much for taking the time. I really hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. And we will see you all soon.